Hello and welcome to the Restoring Her Inc. launch campaign. Who is she? We are so glad you can join us to talk to various women about who is she. Right now we are at a quaint little coffee shop called the Quirky Feather Confectionery, and we are here with Restoring Her founder, Jenn Ray.
Hello, hello. Thank you all for joining us. We're so glad. This is such a wonderful little place. I love to be here. It's colorful and it's quaint and it feels just like me. So I'm excited. And Keisha's wonderful. She's having a great time here doing this little interview. So we're going to have a great time today.
We are starting the fire of restoration throughout our community and our world with Restoring Her. And I just want to introduce myself. I am Keisha Walker, Programs Director of Restoring Her Inc. Let's get started. We won't delay this any longer. Okay, so just to just kind of start everything off, begin with our first question. Jenn, what are some events in your life that happened that helped you birth the passion for women, the passion that you have for women? What birthed that in you?
So I would have to say that ever since I was a little girl, I've always been intrigued, first starting with the book of Esther, and I was always intrigued by her beauty. So when you talk about beauty, I really got into the story of how she had all of these beauty treatments, and what that did on the inside was it intrigued me about the beauty of a woman. And so that, I think, was my first real glimpse and real fire starter for passion for women. And then as I got older, knowing that I had that passion for and that burning and just that stoking of the beauty of a woman, growing up later and not feeling very beautiful myself was another real fire starter. As I grew up, I dealt with a lot of low self-esteem and really just thought I was real ugly. I had big bottle cap glasses that I really felt like, oh my God. People made fun of me. I developed quicker than a lot of the other girls that I was in school with. And so, I got talked about and I of course, boobs, when nobody else has boobs, that's crazy. Everybody's looking at you like, what in the world is wrong with her? So, so that was a real big deal for me. And as I got older, what I started seeing was that there were so many women and so many young women, and then as I got older, so many older women who were dealing with those same sorts of things. And I realized that, all of our lives sometimes we deal with self-esteem issues. We deal with people, talking about us or thinking that we should be something that we're not. And I hated to see women hurting. And even though I was hurting, I never wanted anyone to hurt the way that I was hurting. And so I always wanted to help people not to hurt. I can remember times praying and crying out to God saying, Lord, if you can just let me help someone so they don't have to hurt like I hurt, I'll help them, because I don't want anyone to hurt the way that I do. So that is just really something that was super birthed on the inside ever since I was a little girl.
Yeah, that is very powerful when there is something that you can go through, but you can turn it around and make it be something purposeful and life-giving for someone else.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you believe that restoration, why do you believe that restoration is the answer for the 21st century woman?
Well, when we're talking about restoring, we're talking about bringing things back to their original condition and their original purpose and even their original owner. And so that is really all about bringing a woman back to God and bringing a woman back to her original purpose and the original plan that God had for her life. And so there is nothing better than finding out what is foundational, and finding out who you really are and getting an understanding of that and knowing that and being able to walk in it, there is nothing more powerful than that. So that is why restoration is absolutely the answer. There is no other answer other than knowing who you are, knowing that purpose, returning to that place, and then walking forward in it. Yeah, nothing more powerful than that. I just got stirred up. Don't y'all make me get on here and start saying some stuff for real, because I am stirred up.
She's already there.
Man.
Wow. So living out purpose.
Yes, that's it. That's it right there. That's it.
Well, how do you believe that restoring her will affect the lives of women, the women that it reaches? How do you think that that's going to affect?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I have to take a deep breath on that one, because if I just start talking right now, I might just blow this table over, because that is a whole big old animal all in itself. So restoring her is all about returning us to our original purpose, and that's not just the ideal of purpose in the sense of what are you called to do in your life. That's in every single area of your life. So that is mentally, that is spiritually, that is physically, and that is community. That is in your reach out in the community, and that is your destiny, your life's destiny. So I believe, and I know that restoring her is going to affect women. Oh my God, the women that it reaches, because it is going to help them go back to those places and really dig those things out. So if that woman is struggling with her identity physically, we're going to help with that, because we have some wonderful things as far as nutrition and fitness that will come into play, and even beauty enhancement. And just feeling good about yourself and knowing how to capitalize on your own personal look and your own personal style. So that's there. We've got inner healing that's going to go on, which is amazing. So we are going to do inner healing sessions that are really going to impact us, the areas of forgiveness, and those areas that really only God can touch. Those areas that sometimes, we might go to, and I'm definitely not saying that counseling is bad, because it's good. Counseling is good, but there's sometimes that, you can go to a psychiatrist or whoever you're going to, and they can't reach those same places that God can the way that they need to be reached. And so we're going to be able to do inner healing sessions that are involving that as well. We've got something wonderful called Sozo sessions, where we're facilitating an atmosphere where you can hear for yourself those things that need to be healed on the inside. So we've got the outer, we've got the inner, we've got your mental health, we've got business classes that we're going to offer that are going to help you expand. If you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, we're going to get you right in your finances. So really, it's just a ministry and a organization for the total woman. And I say ministry because, man, whenever you're doing something to help someone, you are ministering to all of their needs. And that doesn't have to be a churchy word. It's just that you are affecting the needs of the people that you're dealing with. So we are going to minister to all of those needs in this organization. So restoring her is absolutely going to impact those ladies in a phenomenal way.
I know that one of the goals of restoring her is actually impacting all of society.
Yes.
So how do you think, what is the framework for that? How do you think that restoring her is going to impact the entire society?
Yeah. So we're going to take this back again, because of course restoration is about returning. And when God created women, he created us to be helpers. That's what he created us for. He said, man, he looked at that man, and he looked at Adam and said, man, it is not good for man to be alone. So let me make a suitable helper for him. And so he created a woman. So when God looked at us, he said, you know what? This is a suitable helper. This is exactly what is necessary in the earth to help my purposes come to pass and to help the earth. Okay? Because he put Adam here, and Adam had to do the work, and so he put us here to help get the work done because Adam couldn't do it by himself. So when we are talking about restoring her, when we are talking about being restored, what we're doing is when we restore that woman, we are enabling her to walk out that purpose. And even and I know sometimes we think of that scripture and we think of that verbiage and we say, okay, well, I'm not just here to help a man. That's true. However, one, our men need help. They need help. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if we are in the position and if we are operating the way that we need to operate, then society is helped because by default, the man is helped. And then by default, once the man is helped and the woman is able to help him, by default, the children are helped. And when that happens, that's whole family restoration. That's the whole family. That is the whole unit that is going on in the earth, which means, hey, Shamanda, that means that the whole society, all of the earth is receiving from that woman's restoration. So society will be impacted just as greatly because they'll be able to get back on track as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, are you ready?
You know what?
Are you ready to tell your restoration story, Jen?
You know, sometimes you don't feel ready, but it's necessary. And so because of that, I am ready. I am ready.
We want to hear your story.
Absolutely. So there is... Goodness gracious. I told you a little bit about, growing up and really not feeling as though I was worth too much of anything. And so because of that, as I got into my teenage years, I met those guys who really were just wanting me for my body and really just wanting to take from me. And in those times, I allowed them to. There were times I can remember just allowing myself to be involved in relationships where I had a man tell me, you know what, you got days. You can talk to me on Monday and Thursday, and somebody else is talking to me on this day, and this day. And because of what was going on in the inside, I took that and I stayed on those days like a darn fool. If somebody is telling you that you got days, let me just add this in. If somebody is telling you that don't take that mess, okay? But I did, and I took it because I did not see my own value. I did not see my own worth, even though in the back of my head and in my heart, I knew, you know what, you're better than this. But because of what was going on, those other things, that turmoil that was happening on the inside, I just didn't listen. And I went ahead and I took that for the desire to be loved or to feel as if somebody was valuing me, even if it was just for a couple days out of the week. And as I got older, got into horrible things in life, some drinking, some alcohol, some drugs, and just really more promiscuity. Severe things. To this day, sometimes I tell my daughter, you can tell me anything because there's nothing that you've done or that you're going to do that your mom hasn't done probably at least twice, And so, really just getting into everything, sex clubs, multiple partners, just things that are not good. As a woman, things that are not good for you to get into because of that desire to feel value. And, and what's funny is because I was always in church. I grew up in church. I can't remember a day in my growing up that I was not in church. I got pregnant with my daughter when I was 19 and had her at 20. And even after that, was still just out there. Thank God I had the presence of mind to say, I don't want her to be the same way as me. So I tried to protect her and put her someplace else. And I let her stay with my parents a lot, but I was a mess. I was an absolute mess and didn't think I was worth it. And so in church, still doing things in church, but really living a secret life and just doing things on the side. I would be in church on Sunday, and then when I would leave church, I might go to that guy's house and just hang out there and stay there, and I'd be lying and just sneaking around, and it was a whole lifestyle of sneakiness and hiding, even though deep down I really knew who I really was. And I was getting good teaching, so it wasn't that, and so that, those two things is just double-minded, just doing two different things and really going nowhere. And that lasted until I was about 28, actually. And that last straw was when I was dating a guy who told me that he wanted to have sex with my daughter. And at that point, I was living in such perversion, really. And when it came to that point, that was the last thing, because I knew that I had protected her, done the best I could to protect her from what I was living in. And at that point, even though, I didn't make too many big changes, I left that alone. But there was still that nastiness going on in me. So I was still talking to people on the internet. I was watching porn on the internet. I was just still, out there. And when I was about 29, the wonderful thing about God is that He never ceases to pursue you. He never stops pursuing, and He is always ready to just come for you. God will come for you even if you don't call for Him. He will come for you. And He was coming for me. And when I was about 29, I just began to feel like, when I'm 30, I'm going to make changes. When I'm 30, things are going to be better. And I just began to really believe that and to say that. And it ended up that God started putting a move in my spirit about that time. And I didn't know what was going on. I just felt like I'm supposed to move. I've got to move. And at that time, we were starting another church in Fort Wayne. And it was so bad. I mean, I was living such a double lifestyle that I was sitting there in leadership and doing all of this crap over there. I thank God that there were people who were merciful and who showed me great mercy during those seasons that I was not where I was supposed to be. I thank God for that. But I didn't have no business being in the positions that I was, to be honest. But as I was feeling that move, I thought, I'll just move with the church to Fort Wayne when they open up this new church. And so I moved to Fort Wayne, and everything failed. Every single thing failed. I lost everything. When I say everything, I had a house full of furniture, and I lost it all. I lost everything. And I finally, because of that loss, and because I couldn't sustain anything, I was asking, I'm like, I don't even have a place to live. I was homeless. I had no job, no money, and I was staying with people. I was moving from place to place and just staying with people. And the crazy thing was that even when I was doing this, those feelings of worthlessness were still there. So much so, I was still on the internet seeking out people to be around and to hang out with, if that's what you want to call it. I was still out there, and just had not been able to shake that yet. But what I did do, I couldn't find a job, and so I finally had to stop and say, God, what are you saying? What are you telling me? I know that I'm feeling that I'm supposed to move, but what are you saying? And every single person after that point said, every time I talked to somebody, they were talking about Indianapolis. I'm like, no, I'm not going to move there. I don't know anybody. I didn't know one soul, not one, not even one. And I like to talk, and I like to have friends. And so that was like, no, I'm not moving there. But I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. And the people I was staying with, you can't stay with a married couple with 3 kids for too long. And so they were tired of me being there, living on their couch. And, I was out late at night coming in. It was a mess. And so I finally said, well, fine, God, if you're saying Indianapolis, then okay, I'm going to send in 5 resumes. I don't have a job, and I will send 5 resumes in Indianapolis, and that's all I'm sending. And I was bold with God. I said, that's all. That's it. And if you don't do something with that, then I'm not going nowhere. I don't know what you're going to do. That is so bold of me, and I ain't have nothing. Just crazy. But I sent those 5 resumes, and he's so good that 4 of them called me back. And so I was shocked, and I thank God for my parents because they allowed my daughter to stay with them. Because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't have a place to live. I didn't have anything knowing that, okay, I'm going to go up here and find something and figure something out. So I took a job, and I was in a hotel for a while, just staying in a hotel. And when I couldn't afford a hotel, I slept in my car. And finally God opened up a door for an apartment, and I had been working long enough, and he opened up the door for that apartment. And, at that point, I was still trying to find friends. I was lonely. And so, of course, I wasn't trying to find female friends because, to me, they weren't that fun. So I was finding crazy men on the doggone internet, y'all. I am telling you, I was a mess.
That internet was the devil.
The devil. I'm finding these men, and I'm, out here hanging out. And one day I had a guy at my house, and something on the inside of me was just breaking. And I said, I need to go to church. I'm going to go to church. And I asked him to go to church with me. He said, no, I'm not going to go to church. And I said, okay, well, we'll get together when I get back. And he said, yeah, just call me and I'll come back over when you leave church. And so I went to church, and I came back. And at that point, I said, you know what? I said, I'm not calling. I said, I'm not going to call. And I remember standing in the mirror, and I was crying, and I said, God, you have to help me. I said, because I can't do this anymore. I said, I can't live this way. I don't want this for my life. There's so much more. I don't want this. And I said to God, I said, if you can do something with me where I am right now, then I'll let you do it. And I didn't call back. And at that point, it was almost like I was climbing upward. And I started spending time with God. And it was so lonely at first. It felt so lonely because I didn't have anyone to talk to. And I would cry days. I would come home from work and I would cry. And I would say, God, if you could just send me a friend. And he would say to me, I'm your friend. Just spend time with me. And so for about 6 months, I was just spending time with God. Just to the point, after a while, there was nothing I wanted to do more. And I would go to work and be like, I'm not trying to go to work. I want to stay home and just worship God. I just want to stay here with you. And he would say, well, you can worship me at work. Just sing when you're in the animal rooms. And so there I was working in a laboratory, singing to some stink bugs in the room. I'm telling you, I was working in a lab and I was singing to them, and I was worshiping in the stink bug room because I just wanted to keep his presence with me all the time. And that right there, that day, standing in that mirror was that turning point. That restoration began. And I want to say that restoration is not just some immediate thing that happens. It's a process, and it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes sacrifice and work, and sometimes it takes tears. But I will say that spending those days with him, it started out like the worst of times because I felt so lonely. But then after a while, after I met people, they would ask me to go places. And I'd be like, no, I'm going to stay at home because I would rather be alone with him. And so that is, I'm not going to keep going. I could keep going because the process kept going, and the process continued, and it has continued on. And I will tell you that because of that process, and because I went through that process and enabled and really just allowed God to to make me whole again, and I allowed him to restore my life, all those other things began to fall off. And I remember someone telling me a long time ago, they said, God, his presence is like an all-consuming fire. And everything that's not like him, when you get in there, it all burns off. And that's what began to happen. And that restoration was taking place, and all those other nasty things were burning off. And I'll tell you that I ended up meeting my husband, looking for a car, and my whole life transformed. And so now, of course, here I am today. And I won't keep going, because I would just keep going. And there's so much, and I would just keep going, because it's still going on, more, it's still coming. But that's all I'll say for now.
What an awesome story.
Yeah.
Of restoration. I mean, the stepping stones that you've taken, the teaching and the lesson of valuing self.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. But ultimately, the decision to be restored was yours.
That's it.
It was your choice.
That's it. And when you choose that, the key to valuing yourself is to know where you come from. And to know not only who you are, but knowing whose you are. And so that's where restoration really begins. And that is an awesome journey. And you're right, it is a choice that you make. Absolutely.
We have one more very important question for you, Jenn.
Absolutely.
For where you are today, who have you become as a woman?
Oh my, as a woman, I will say the biggest word is God assured. And I a lot of times we say self-assured. And I'm that too. But what I am the most is God assured, because every day he reaffirms me. Every day he reassures me that I'm going in the right direction. So I will say that today I am not lacking in self-esteem. I am entirely loving who I am, because I'm fine. Whoop, whoop, whoop. No, I'm just playing. But no, I'm not playing, but I'm for real. But no, so I will say God assured, I am self-assured, confident, which increases every day, every single day. Today, I am a wife. I have had a second child, which is fabulous and wonderful. And goodness gracious, what else? Oh my gosh, I'm still a worshiper, because that's just what's in you all the time. And, my purpose is now fulfilling, because I'm sitting here talking to you. And I'm able to do those things that God put in me to do since I was a little girl. I remember after those weeks of spending time with him, I was sitting outside in my car, and I was looking up at the trees, and there were so many leaves on the trees, and I was saying, God, I said, I want to reach as many women as I can. I said, if you just let me reach as many women as I possibly can. And he said, you see those leaves that you're looking at? And he said, those are all the women that I have for you to reach. And I just kept looking at them, and then I looked down the down the thing, and I just kept seeing more and more and more leaves. And so today I am fulfilling destiny. I'm fulfilling purpose. Me sitting right here is a true and honest proof that restoration has taken place, and that I am a restored woman. I am his, he is mine. And it is an awesome journey, and I love it.
Wow. Well, I will say today we have definitely started the fire.
I hope so.
Of restoring her. Yeah. We just want to say to everybody, thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you.
And please stay tuned.
Yeah.
We're going to continue in our interviews, continue to find out who is she.
Yes. Thank you all. I hope you have a great night. We'll be talking to you soon. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.